when AI compresses these roles that like where do people like you who are going to be entering the workforce soon like go and build that experience?
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome to Higher Ed Pulse, your no-fluff guide to artificial intelligence in higher ed. I'm Mallory Willsea, bringing nearly 20 years of edtech and marketing expertise straight to your earbuds. Higher ed leaders are expected to master AI overnight, but let's be real, no one has time to sift through every headline, hot take, or research report. That's why every Monday, I'll break down what actually matters. Fast, clear, and to the point. Want to sound like the smartest person in the room at your next team meeting? You're in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Higher Ed Pulse. On today's episode, did you catch the recent viral essay by tech CEO Matt Schumer? He says white-collar roles could be transformed or eliminated at scale and soon, while higher ed keeps saying we're preparing students for the future of work. Today, we're testing that claim. My guest is a senior marketing major navigating AI in the classroom and AI in the hiring process at the same time. We're getting the student's perspective today with Sydney Yund, a senior at the University at Albany. She's studying business administration with a concentration in marketing. Sydney's from Guilderland, New York, and she's interested in digital marketing, public relations, and journalism. And in her free time, she enjoys yoga, reading, and traveling. Hey, Sydney, welcome to the Pulse.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Well, my gosh,
awesome.
When we were at that brewery in Ballston Spa a couple weeks ago and our mutual friend, I know, he was like, can I introduce you to Sydney? And I was like, will you be on my podcast? I think within minutes of meeting you.
It was perfect because I actually met Mallory because I wanted to make a podcast episode myself about marketing and AI. And she was like, I actually have a podcast. And I was like, oh my God, what's it about? She was like, marketing and AI. And I was
exactly.
Like, it's faded. It's perfect. So
I know it was
first podcast for me.
And the best part is the person you're doing that internship with who introduced us, his name's Robert. And folks, 2 weeks from now, he's going to be on this podcast talking about networking and why it matters. And hey, here is like, this is the end result right here. Like, this is why networking matters, right?
Exactly.
I love it. All right. Well, we are going to talk all things AI from the student perspective today because Sydney has never known college without ChatGPT. AI has been part of her academic backdrop, from drafting outlines and refining copy, probably accelerating research, maybe even answering questions on demand. For her generation, AI is now just a default. At the same time, there's been a lot of noise around the future of work. Over the past couple weeks, Matt Schumer's viral essay, which I've linked in the show notes, warned that AI could transform and potentially eliminate large swaths of routine white-collar work, especially early career roles that are built around cognitive tasks. The kind of roles that Sydney's probably hoping to get. Now, the post sparked so much debate across tech and academia. I bet you have come across it already, listeners. It amplified what is certainly a growing anxiety. If AI can already draft and analyze and summarize and optimize, what happens to our work? What happens to those entry-level jobs that were designed to teach those skills? Higher ed continues to promise career readiness, but what does that mean when the definition of entry-level is literally shifting in real time? So Sydney, I want to ground us in that essay because I know you've read it too. He wrote that something big is happening and AI is advancing much faster than most people realize. When you see language like that and like a post like that racks up 50 million views, what is your first reaction?
Yeah, so my first reaction was definitely fear, if I'm being honest, because I've seen AI develop in real time, especially like in the marketing industry since I've been in school. The entire time ChatGPT has been getting better. And it seems like it has advanced so quickly. So for somebody in the tech industry and so like specialized in AI to tell us, hey, it's actually moving a lot faster than all of you guys realize, it's like, what is the world going to look like in 10 years? What is it going to look like in 2 years? So that's where it's exciting though at the same time. But then it's like, okay, if I am not getting on board with this, I'm going to be left behind. So that's where it's like, I thankfully am very interested in AI and I have been using it for a while now. But at the same time, it's like, okay, maybe I need to like get into this a little bit more, learn a little bit more, stay a little bit more on top of it than I already have been. So yeah, it's definitely exciting, but a little bit weary at the same time.
Yeah. And we'll definitely dive in the course of this conversation into like how you are currently using AI, because I'm really curious about that. But I want to ask about like your education at the University at Albany. I know that you are in classes that are discussing AI currently. Like, how are your professors presenting this to you? And is that different than the way that, you know, maybe they reacted to AI when ChatGPT first came on the scene?
Yep. So it has been so interesting because when I first started in college, I obviously was in more general courses, but my teachers hated AI. They told us don't use it. It's cheating.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
But now I'm in a class where literally if we don't use AI, we get penalized.
Get
like
out.
you will literally fail like an assignment if you don't use AI.
Wait, we need to talk about this. Like, what's going on there?
So that's my class. It's such an interesting class. It's being held by Dr. Suraj Kumari. But it's called the AI Operators Lab, and it's a marketing course. And so we're basically learning how to engineer prompts for AI. And I'm only in my 4th class so far, but I had an interview with him before this podcast. So he gave me some tips and how he thinks we're going to be using AI in the next 2 years. Because at first I was like, what do you think AI is going to look like in 10 years? And he laughed at me. He was like, we have no idea. He was like, we have no idea. And I was
talk
like,
about 2 months from now, you know?
I was like, okay, 2 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, in my other marketing classes, we are also using AI so much. And my teachers, all of them. And even like a couple years ago, my first marketing class I had, my teacher was like, I actually do encourage you guys to use AI. Because in the workforce, people might not say they're using it, but they are. And now, yeah, we're in an industry where if you're not using AI, you probably won't get hired because you can't turn out results as quickly as your peers. And that's what it comes down to. And like, it's scary, but at the same time, it's exciting because it's an innovation. Like things are becoming so much easier and we're able to have the same product without taking so much time and resources as we would have had to before. So yeah, in all of my marketing classes though, AI is actually encouraged.
So are we specifically talking about generative AI tools like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini? Is that the type of AI that you're utilizing?
Yes.
Okay.
That is the type of AI. We mostly talk about ChatGPT and Claude though.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a lot of experience with Claude because I feel it's used more for coding. But that's another thing I have to learn more about Claude. But I use ChatGPT the most. And I've found that it has gotten so much better, obviously. But since I use it so much, it almost like knows exactly what I want. And like, I've trained it with these different techniques that my professors taught us. Like, I'll tell it, okay, so your role is X or your tone is X and this is how you behave. And after a while, it's like picked up on like, okay, she's a university student or she's a hypothetical marketer or she's a hypothetical brand strategist. So it will turn out like better results for me. And then I have a different ChatGPT account that I'll use sometimes if I like run out because I have the free model.
Oh, sure.
And
yeah.
it literally like won't work as well as my other one where I've been using it because it has like the saved memory and that's how AI works. And that's actually, I learned in my class, that's why the ChatGPT Pro or the Pro models cost more money is because you can continue on it for longer so it can store more memory and data.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're talking to someone who pays $200 a month for ChatGPT. So it is well worth it. Yeah. It's well worth it.
I probably should, honestly.
I'm having a little bit of a AI, like generative AI identity crisis, I'll admit to you, Sydney, because you were just mentioning Claude. I was up at midnight the other night, like working in ChatGPT, and as I just mentioned, I'm paying $200 a month for it. It has years of data and history with me. I flipped over to a free version of Claude to help me with a quick writing task, a brand new account. zero history, zero context, etc. And it churned out better content than ChatGPT did. And I don't know how to identify anymore. It's like,
you're like, actually, I don't know who I am.
I don't. I'm like, what is this? I am so ChatGPT loyal, and yet I spent some time this week like migrating everything over to Claude because it's working better right now. And I don't know. There's no question there. It's just my life story.
I really need to start using Claude myself because after the Super Bowl commercial, I think they had a commercial for Claude.
I'm pretty sure.
And that's where I started to see more discourse about it. And I was like, oh, I thought Claude was just being used for code.
Yeah.
Because it's, like he said, it's moving so much faster than like a lot of us realize, unless you're really in the space.
In that article, Schumer also argues that AI can pretty much do everything that us white collar workers can do, thanks to pattern recognition, drafting, summarizing, analysis, all of those things. So like in your marketing curriculum, when you're comparing like your syllabus and what you're learning to the capabilities that you just know like AI is going to be picking up in your future jobs, like is there a lot of overlap or, can you just speak to that?
Yeah. So the biggest overlap that I recognize in the marketing field and AI is definitely in the research compartment. And I'd like to talk about that for a little bit because my teacher said that within the next 2 years, marketing research is actually going to be done using synthetic data. He predicts with AI, which means that all the data that like is used for marketing research is actually just going to be AI making its own data. That is like the most probable rather than human data, which can vary a lot or have some biases or not be 100% accurate. So marketing research, you definitely use AI a lot for. And then also I think content drafting, because while obviously AI is not as creative as a human, it can come up with ideas better and have more ground to cover than a human can. And it can start easier than a human can. So we are able to adapt to what they've given us and edit it and come up with more ideas and more grounds to cover. So that's like where I see AI being used the most is coming up with ideas or starting with something so that it doesn't take as long. And then also doing analysis. So maybe researching competitors, researching the market in general. So that's where I'm seeing a big overlap.
Yeah, students will never know the challenge of like blank page syndrome because of generative AI tools. Like you have a idea partner in a brainstormer right there at your fingertips. Whereas when I was in college, I would stare at the blank page for half an hour before anything would like pop out of my brain. Like it was paralyzing. And I think you can get from zero to idea just so much faster right now. So give me some real examples, Sydney. Like, how are you utilizing AI to help you with your schoolwork? And I know that you're doing an internship. Like, where is AI, getting pulled in there too?
So for my internship, I use AI a lot. So what I've been doing right now is I've been actually preparing to have a podcast interview with my professor, my boss, Robert Brathe. And AI has helped me organize my ideas and relate it to more broader marketing concepts that I might not have thought of originally. And he also, obviously I work in marketing, so I'm trying to help him discover more target markets or ways to advertise to prospective customers. And AI will give me more ideas that I might not have thought of originally, and different routes or ways that people in the industry are also utilizing AI or just marketing in general that we may not be already doing. So that's how I've been using it for my internship. And then in school, my favorite thing that I learned is doing a voice lock. So that's where you tell AI, don't use the M dash or don't use these words because my competitor uses it. Or you can describe your brand voice, and it's so fun. I'll be for our hypothetical projects, I'll be you are a girl that lives in the city and likes to drink matcha lattes, and I'll give it a very descriptive tone, and it'll get it perfectly. And I'm you are so smart. And it's crazy. And we have all these different things, but then we're also like learning that there are advanced prompts versus like casual prompts. So for the advanced prompts, we're iterating. So that means like every time after the AI comes up with a result, we are like editing it afterwards, and we are like having it maybe flag, pass, or fail its own work. So afterwards, we'll be like, oh, why don't you give us a analysis of how you thought your work came out? And it'll be like, let me analyze it for you. And then it'll be like flag for the human eye or pass or fail. And then, also you like engineer it, but you like to engineer a prompt, you actually have to use marketing knowledge. So it's like you still do need these foundations and skills that you learn in college. So that's like an interesting thing is like to structure the prompt, you have to tell ChatGPT like, okay, use these traditional marketing techniques, like maybe use PASS or BAB, like to give the prompt exactly what you want so that ChatGPT produces the right thing. Because ChatGPT thinks very linearly right now. So that's what I've been learning in my course, especially my AI operator lab, that you really have to have ChatGPT follow exact steps. And another fun one is the chain of command. So to tell ChatGPT exactly what to do. So it's like if you were in marketing and you were doing this, so you're like, okay, I know the steps because I work in marketing and I've learned about marketing. So then you're like, okay, Chat, you do this, follow these exact steps, and don't go to the next step until you've completed this one. So you're basically doing what you would do just at a much faster pace. So it doesn't eliminate human creativity or human knowledge at all unless you are abusing it that way. And that's the way that I see it. And like Dr. Kumari, when I had an interview with him, he said, either you are using AI to open up more time to learn more, or you're using AI and you're sitting and watching TikTok videos. So it's like, if you want to keep your knowledge and your brain fresh, then that's on you. And then like he had a really interesting example of like the Industrial Revolution. So obviously after the Industrial Revolution, we had so many big advancements in technology, but humans still continued to create and they still continued to innovate. And it just depends on not wanting to be lazy or fall too much into the comfort of convenience. Because at the end of the day, like you want to keep your brain active and you want to keep learning more.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And also to like add to one of your points around, the importance of the human behind the tool. These generative AI tools are hallucinating all the time. I just read a story on LinkedIn the other day where someone was kind of lamenting that they've been running some AI agents for a while and dug into some of the data, and lo and behold, those AI agents were fabricating data points. This is data that they were putting into their board decks that they were making strategic business decisions off of. I mean, like, when AI goes bad, it can go really bad if someone is not smart enough to go back and check it, or doesn't have the subject matter expertise to know if the output actually makes sense or not. And so I think you're right that like the marketer still needs to have so much knowledge in order to like appropriately guide these tools.
Absolutely. I think that you have to always look over what AI is saying because it's not correct all the time, and it's not a primary source. Like it is looking over a lot of data, and it is sometimes coming to solutions where it's not even like correct, because AI will, like, that's one of the things we're learning in my class right now is AI will always give you a result. They will never say, I don't know. Yeah. So if it doesn't know, it'll just come up with something random. So that's why it's a big responsibility for the human to double check all of the work that AI puts out, because otherwise you don't know what you're getting.
And I realized that I had the benefit of all these entry level positions that have like helped me learn context and better judgment and the dynamics between how clients operate and, different politics and different things like that. And it concerns me that when AI compresses these roles that like where do people like you who are going to be entering the workforce soon like go and build that experience? Like, have you thought about that?
Right. So in the workforce, I think the biggest thing that's scary about AI is how it's being used to maybe human resources. So like reviewing applications, because that's a big thing that I'm learning about in my internship. Because the Career Service Station and Broadway Enterprises, we help people a lot with finding jobs and creating a cover letter and a resume that will not be overlooked by AI agents that are going through applications because AI agents are literally being used to review applications right now. So that's the scariest part for me in the workforce, and obviously the entry level jobs. But I like to be an optimist about things. I don't know, but I think if you know how to use AI, it'll just make things easier for you. But I think at the same time, if you don't, then that person next to you, if they're better at using it than you, they're going to be producing things faster than you. And at the end of the day, that's what the company cares about. They care about getting their output, their money. So yeah, it's either you're able to use it or you're not, because that's the thing. It's like, I don't think one company can just use AI to do everything for them. It takes time to like strategically make these prompts. And I guess that's right now. Maybe we won't know in a couple of years, but only time will tell. But I think the human creativity and reviewing is very important. And I don't think that's going to be going anywhere.
Yeah. To your point, like the change management within companies that has to happen in order to adopt this new technology is significant. And especially within education institutions, like I think, the last few years, it's been really clear. And I'm sure any listener right now is like nodding their head, like colleges need a task force and they need policies and they need all these things drafted and approved. And, there's 10 committees just to get one little thing approved. And that is maybe unique in some ways to education institutions, but within large matrixed companies, like that is happening as well. But I digress. Sydney, I know that when we were prepping for today, you mentioned that you were interested in talking about the dark side of AI. And I'm curious, like, what does that mean to you?
So I think that there are a lot of jobs, like you said, the entry level jobs, especially that are being cut out because of the new rise in AI and how a lot of companies aren't going to need as many employees anymore. So it makes the whole workforce so much more competitive, and it makes the whole landscape really scary. But there's definitely a dark side to AI. Obviously, the environmental impact. That's what I was like all about at first. But then I was talking to my professor, and he was like, actually, they're doing a lot of research, and AI literally has the ability to like be able to come up with alternative cooling techniques, and might even be able to like fix climate change. So it's like, well, let it do what it wants. I don't know. Smarter than me, I guess. But I don't know. It's definitely, there's a dark side of AI. Clearly there's a lot of trouble getting a job right now, especially in the marketing field. I had a cousin just lose her job in the marketing field, actually. But so I'm like, woo, I don't know. But I think a big thing we're doing in my internship is like, it's not what you know, it's who you know. You got to network, the best way to get a job. I don't know. I think there's definitely a dark side to AI. And it's kind of scary, but I try to be an optimist about things and hope for the best. But you can't overlook it. And that's why it's like, you got to get on board with AI or else you're going to be left behind. I think it's as simple as that.
Preach. If AI disappeared tomorrow though, like what would become harder for you?
Definitely getting started with things. Obviously, like I'm not that lazy. Like I went through high school, like I had to write all my own papers, like, and I still write my own papers and stuff. And I still have to come up with my own ideas and like start the first sentence. But it's like, now I've kind of gotten accustomed to being like, I'm going to ask AI what they think I should do out of all my ideas, or like what they think would like make my my paper better, or like how I can make X better. So now it's like, well, now I have to really try harder. And not even like in the sense where it's like, oh man, I can't be like lazy anymore, but it's like my output isn't going to be as good. So it's like, and you also don't have access to that much information. And like, that's a big thing where I feel like AI is really helpful because everybody deserves to have access to knowledge and information, and not everybody does. And with AI, everybody can access that. And I think that's a big thing that AI offers society, where if we didn't have it tomorrow, it would, I don't know, I think it'd be bad.
That's a really good point. When you prepare to apply for jobs after you graduate, are you going to showcase that you are fluent in AI? Like, are you going to show that off as an asset? Or like, do you think you might get judged for that, or it might signal that you're dependent on it?
It's so interesting because before, the last job I applied to is obviously for my internship. We didn't really talk about AI, but I've never made it a point to bring it up until now. I'm thinking, oh, actually, I am going to say that I'm fluent in AI. Because I remember like when I first met you, you were like, do you use AI? And I was like, well, a little bit. And you were like, I don't hire anyone that doesn't use AI. And I was like, I feel like that's everyone. So now I'm like starting to see more. I'm like, okay, it's not a bad thing. Stop getting behind the stigma and just be honest that yes, I do use AI and I know how to use it. Not only am I a casual user, because I'm not a casual user, I'm an experienced user, and I know how to like structure my own prompts, and I know all these little techniques that the average passive user won't know. And that's a really big thing where, yeah, if you're just using AI, like give me this, you're not going to have the same output as the person next to you who actually knows how to use it. And then in the end, you're not going to be the person that they hire or that they keep because you can't continue to make the same output that they can.
Well, just think back on your last few years of using generative AI compared to maybe somebody who's been working at a company where their boss has really, different feelings than we do about it and has told that person, no, you're not allowed to do this. Like, you've got more experience now than maybe that person who's got 10 years longer in the field. And there's been a lot of research that's come out around how junior level employees can produce quality work with AI as a companion that mirrors or surpasses the type of work that more senior level employees are doing without AI. So it really is leveling the playing field in a lot of ways. And I don't know, I mean, I personally would not want to go work for a person or an organization that philosophically felt differently around these things than I do. And if I got into an interview process and I was like uncovering that there was not as much appetite for AI within that organization, I don't think I'd go work there.
I completely agree because I'd be like, oh, this company is going to fail in a couple of years. It's literally like I'm in a strategic management class right now too. And that's probably my one class where we don't use a lot of AI. But like my teacher was talking about how Kodak, like the camera company, like completely fell behind because they didn't get up to date with the digital revolution. So it's like, okay, if a company's not getting up to date with the AI revolution, then they're going to collapse. And I don't want to be on their side. Like, I don't know. It's just as simple as that. And I think it's the same way with branding yourself and showing that I actually know how to use AI. I don't just make stupid stuff and waste trees for no reason. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, like I actually know how to use it, guys. I swear. And yeah.
Do you think, and as we're wrapping up, I'm kind of thinking back to that article that CEO wrote, and when you see senior leaders write essays about the end of white collar work and the vanishing of entry level positions, like, do you think they're misunderstanding anything about your generation or people who are in school right now? And are they missing how people like you are approaching this moment?
I think that they're missing how efficient we are and how we've lived in this world our entire life and how, we've learned to adapt and how to make things so much more easy. And like, not even in a bad way, just like we can get things done faster. We know how to use AI. We've grown up on AI. Like, and yeah, I think that they underestimate how my generation, like, a lot of people think we're lazy or like we're chronically online. And yeah, I'm sure some people are, but at the end of the day, I think that a lot of people are also adapting a lot faster than the older generation is to AI, which it looks like it's going to be the future. And even if it's not, like, we still had our education and we still, like, all of us are like very afraid at the same time and are expecting like all these bad things going into like the workforce. So we don't really have anything to lose. I don't know. I feel like there's that element to it as well.
That's totally fair. That's totally fair. Well, Cindy, this half hour has just flown right by. It has been awesome chatting with you about all of these things. And I'm sure I can speak for all the listeners when I say that we wish you the best of luck as you wrap up your senior year and enter the workforce. Any parting thoughts before we finish this one?
Yeah, I'm just going to say that, yeah, when I first started learning about AI, I didn't really like it and I didn't use it that much. But the more I've started to, because I've seen like my teachers encouraging it. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm going to start using it. It's made everything a lot more efficient. And there's nothing bad about that. That's the biggest part about AI. And it's like, you don't have to just use it for convenience, just to be lazy. It's not black and white, you know? I feel like there's a lot of nuance to it. And you can create a better output, like you were saying, versus a senior level person. And at the same time, you're learning. Because if you're genuinely like using your brain when you were like engineering these prompts, you're still adapting and using your knowledge in that situation. So yeah, I think everything is, you're still learning at the end of the day. And yeah, I think you don't want to get too comfortable because you never know what can happen. But
that's true.
Yeah, it opens up a lot of free time. So
yeah, good. Well, now you can go scroll all those TikTok videos.
I'm not like that, guys.
Awesome. All right. Well, Cindy, it was so great catching up with you, folks. We will catch you next week. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the Higher Ed Pulse. The show is a proud member of the Enrollify Network, home to Higher Ed's largest collection of podcasts. Enrollify is where higher ed goes to grow, so be sure to check out our other podcasts, webinars, video clips, blogs, and more. Visit Enrollify.org and subscribe for all the latest details and content drops directly to your inbox. Enrollify is brought to you by Element 451, the digital workforce platform for higher ed. Learn more at element451.com.